A thesis statement is a fundamental idea or assertion that informs your entire argument. It should be clear, concise, and persuasive, leaving readers with a strong understanding of what you're trying to say. In this video, we will show you how to develop a thesis statement for your academic paper and give you some tips on how to make it stronger. What is a thesis statement? A thesis statement is a sentence or phrase that states the main idea of your paper or speech. It should be clear and concise and should be the focus of your argument. A thesis statement should be discussed and defended throughout the paper or speech. Types of thesis statements. There are different types of thesis statements that can be used in different circumstances. The following is a brief overview of each type and how to write it. Thesis statement types. 1. Claiming thesis. This is the most common type of thesis statement, and it simply asserts something as a fact. For example, I am a student at XYZ University, or the sun rises in the east. These statements are not necessarily supported by evidence, but they are still considered a thesis statement. 2. Argument thesis. This type of thesis statement attempts to prove a point by providing evidence. For example, tax rates should be raised to generate more revenue, or advocates of gun control believe that guns are responsible for mass shootings. These statements would typically include support from sources such as statistics or articles. 3. Hypothesis thesis. A hypothesis is an assumption about something that is not yet known. For example, I hypothesize that the rate of obesity will continue to increase over the next 5 years. This type of statement does not necessarily include any supporting evidence, but it allows for future research to test the idea. 4. Principal thesis. A principal thesis statement establishes a general truth about a subject. For example, all people are entitled to be treated with respect, or the golden rule applies to all people. These statements are based on accepted principles and should not be disputed. 5. Argument to principle thesis. This type of thesis statement argues for a principle by providing evidence that it is true. For example, the more money parents spend on their children's education, the better their chances of success later in life, or the death penalty is effective at deterring crime. These statements would typically include evidence from studies or statistics. How to write a thesis statement? A thesis statement is an important part of any paper or essay. It should concisely state the main point of your argument. Here are some tips on how to write a thesis statement for your academic paper. 1. Start with a clear purpose. Your thesis statement should be specific and focused without being too broad or general. You want to avoid putting too much information into one sentence, since this will make it difficult to support. Try to outline your argument in advance so that you have a clearer idea of what you're trying to say. 2. Be honest with yourself. You need to be able to confidently state your position on the issue at hand. If you're not sure whether or not your thesis statement is valid, ask a friend or tutor for feedback. 3. Keep it simple and straightforward. A thesis statement should be easy to read and understand, without using unnecessary jargon or complex language. Try to focus on the main points of your argument and use simple language to convey them. 4. Use strong verbs and concrete examples. When writing a thesis statement, use strong verbs that describe actions or events that take place in the real world. How to conclude the thesis? A thesis statement is the most important part of your thesis paper. It should be clear, concise, and persuasive. 1. Start with a strong idea or theme. Your thesis should reflect what you are writing about in your article. For example, if you are writing about parenting, your thesis might be parenting styles that emphasize independence for children can have negative consequences. If you are writing about personal finance, your thesis might be investing for the long term is the best strategy. 2. Choose a specific point of view. Make sure that your thesis reflects the perspective of the author, rather than just being a general statement about parenting or investing. 3. Be specific. Use concrete examples to illustrate your points. For example, rather than saying all parents make mistakes, say I once made a mistake while cooking dinner that resulted in my son getting scolded. 4. Be logical and coherent. Your thesis should make sense based on the information presented in your article. For example, if you are writing about personal finance, don't say investing is important without explaining why it is important and how it can help you achieve your financial goals. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, kindly subscribe the channel. Have a great day.